I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. Well, just like last week, we're a few days late, but we've got another birthday to celebrate. Actually, I think that's going to be all the videos in January. But today I'm going to be telling you my top 5 favourite Lin-Manuel Miranda moments. For once I was actually fully able to rank these. Lin is not on this list because it's not a moment. It's a movement. Ha! We're talking about things on a much smaller scale. So we'll be moving up, going from 5 to 1. And number 5 is a bit of an interesting one because it's not really because it's Lin. Unlike all the others on this list and pretty much everything you could put on a list like this, this really doesn't have much to do with Lin specifically. But that is the announcement that Hamilton was coming down under. When news first broke in 2019, it was released in an 11-second, I repeat, 11-second video where all Lin does is saying it's coming down under. It makes me... Oh, obviously that's got more to do with the fact that it's about Hamilton coming down under than it does to do with the fact that Lin's the one telling us. So it's a little weird, but I do get tears in my eyes when I watch that 11-second video, 3 seconds of which is just the logo. Thankfully the rest of them aren't quite so weird. Number 4 would be the Wired autocomplete interview he did. That video is just so hilarious and adorable, and I love every second of it. Being a famous person and having to answer questions that people have googled about you, that could therefore be weird at best and kind of creepy at worst. Must be interesting, and I have no way of knowing how he felt about the fact that people have googled some of those things. But he's laughing the entire time. He's being his adorable self the entire time, and I love it, especially the end. Okay, number 3 and number 2 are a little bit hard. Not because I like them equally, but because I like them in such different ways that it almost depends how I'm feeling as to which one's number 2 and to which one's number 3. Because one is straight up hilarious and the other is just so beautiful and emotional. In fact, you might already be able to guess what these are. So it depends on the day which one is number 2 and which one is number 3. But for this video, I'm just going to be ranking them how they rank right now. So the one at the top is based on where it ranks today as of filming, which means number 3 is the Drunk History episode. Oh my god, I love this thing so much. I don't think there's any way you can watch it without having to pay something. I think it's on Hulu. I don't have Hulu, but I bought it on iTunes and YouTube and Apple TV. So I've got like 3 digital copies of it. So I don't know if there's a place you can watch the full thing for free, but I will leave a link to a Facebook video down below. It's only about half the episode, but it should give you the basics and show you all the hilarity that is in there. Watching Lin talk about Hamilton as he slowly gets more inebriated is just hilarious. Now obviously there are actors playing out scenes, but none of them are talking. It's all Lin's voice, which makes it even more hilarious. I think this is probably my favourite moment. And if anyone's wondering what he was drinking, it was Tennessee honey whiskey. Number 2. The Tony speech. Really just everything about the Tonys. The way he's crying as he listens to everybody else's acceptance speech. The way they took the guns out of the performance because after what had happened the night before, they didn't want to be doing that. But but mostly it's the speech. So if you somehow haven't seen it, well, first of all, you should. But even if you haven't seen it, I'm sure you have probably heard about it after his name's called. It's that he fist bumps his wife, which is adorable. And I cry every time. Sometimes I'm even crying before he starts talking. That's why 2 and 3 are a little interchangeable, just because they're so different and it depends on how I'm feeling. But right now, it's the Tony speech. So before we get to number 1, I just have a few honourable mentions. These aren't necessarily moments in the way the others are. They're a bit more broad. And these are not in any particular order either. But, honourable mentions. Number 1, he took his mother as his date to the Oscars. Number 2, his hilarious escape from summer camp. I'll leave the Jimmy Kimmel video down below. But let's just say, taking a temperature is for amateurs. Number 3, Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe. This is a beautiful and hilarious story, and Lin narrates the audiobook. Now, normally audiobooks aren't my thing, but this one I had to try. There is something just wonderful about lying down for 8 hours and listening to Lin tell you a story. Oh, and Alexander Hamilton is mentioned twice, and there is nothing like hearing Lin say the line, "I sure as hell don't want to study Alexander Hamilton." And even if audiobooks aren't your thing, I would still recommend the book. Number 4, how much of a fanboy he is. Really, it's the fact that I know he's a fan of Julie that really makes me happy. He did that Broadway's Flying video, and when he brought up the OBC, he gave the example of Julie in My Fair Lady, and then pointed out how no, it wasn't Audrey who originated the role. He didn't have to say that last bit about Audrey. He wore out his vinyl of Camelot because he listened to it so much, and I love it. And the final honourable mention, Groff. His friendship with Jonathan Groff is everything. I can't exactly point to a specific example because they're all so hilarious. Just search for it in the bar above and go down the incredibly gay rabbit hole that is Grofflin. It's sure to steal several hours of your life. And finally, number 1, my favourite Lin-Manuel Miranda moment of all time. This was in the interview he did for the Chicago Humanities Festival. Obviously, I'm going to leave a link to all of these videos down below, but with this one I will put a timestamp next to the URL because the video is very long and this moment is towards the end. Got to the Q&A part and he was asked the question, would he ever consider casting a disabled person in Hamilton? And without a beat, he says absolutely. And my little crippled heart just melted. So yeah, if you're new here, welcome, first of all. But you might not know, I'm disabled. So hearing that it knocked everything else out of the park. There was an interview he did a little before Hamilton came out, and he was talking about how, in a broad sense, that an actor's ethnicity is a factor in whether they get cast. Obviously there are specific roles where the actor needs to be a certain race, West Side Story, Hairspray, that sort of thing. To decide, he said it's a factor. And the answer he gave to that question about casting a disabled person tells me that he thinks of it that exact way. And that means everything to me. I can't possibly be the only person who thinks that King George in a wheelchair would be another whole level of extra. Talking about all this has made me cry. I'm going to be perfectly honest here. Even Julie doesn't make me cry the way Lin does. So, there you have it. My top 5 favourite Lin-Manuel Miranda moments, and some beautiful and hilarious honourable mentions. Happy birthday, Lin. So, in the comments, let me know. What is your favourite moment from Lin-Manuel Miranda? Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my video next week. So long, farewell!